Stop scrolling. What you're about to discover will make you question everything you thought you knew about women, dating, and why good guys finish last. If you've ever felt invisible to someone you cared about, if you've ever been called too nice, if you've ever watched a woman choose chaos over your consistency, then you need to hear this. The problem isn't you. It's the lies you've been fed your entire life about how attraction actually works. I'm about to pull back the curtain on something most people will never understand, and once you see it, there's no going back. Here's something that's going to sting at first, but stick with me because this changes everything. You think attraction is built through kindness, through loyalty, through being there, through proving your worth. And you're watching other guys who don't even try half as hard, guys who aren't half as good as you, walking away with the results you desperately want. It makes no sense, right? But here's the brutal reality. Attraction isn't logical. It's emotional. Let me break this down in a way that'll actually make sense. When you're trying to win someone over by doing things for them, you're playing a game you don't even realize you're losing. Attraction doesn't come from what you give someone. It comes from how they feel about themselves when they're around you. Read that again. Two guys. Both treat her well. One disappears from her mind in days. The other? She can't stop thinking about him. What's the difference? One made her feel comfortable. The other made her feel alive. This is where most men completely miss the mark. They confuse comfort with attraction. They think being the safe choice is the winning move. But safety doesn't create butterflies. It creates friendship. And once you're in that zone, no amount of effort changes how she feels. The men who succeed aren't necessarily better men. They're men who understand something deeper about human psychology. They know that value isn't proven through action alone. It's communicated through presence, through certainty, through not needing to prove anything at all. Think about every time you bent over backwards for someone who barely noticed. Every late-night text you sent hoping for a response. Every plan you canceled just to be available. Every time you said yes when you wanted to say no. You thought you were showing dedication. But what you were actually showing was desperation. And desperation repels people faster than anything else. It's not fair. It's not right. But it's reality. The currency of attraction isn't effort. It's energy. And when your energy screams "I need you to validate me," people run. When your energy whispers "I'm complete with or without you," people lean in. That's the difference. That's what nobody tells you. That's what changes everything once you finally understand it. Now this is going to hurt, but it needs to be said. The guys who struggle with women the most. They're not the jerks. They're not the lazy ones. They're the ones with the biggest hearts. The ones who genuinely care. The ones who would do anything to make it work. You. And that's exactly why it doesn't work. You fall into what I call the desperation cycle, and you don't even know you're in it. It starts innocently. You like someone. You want to show them you care. So you give attention. You make time. You prioritize them. You think if I just show her how much I value her, she'll see it. She'll feel it. She'll choose me. But here's what actually happens. The more you give without her having to earn it, the less valuable it becomes. Not because she's ungrateful. Not because she's playing games. Human beings, all human beings, value what they have to work for. When everything is handed to you, there's no challenge. No mystery. No tension. And without tension, there's no attraction. You become predictable. And predictable is the opposite of exciting. So she starts pulling back. Not because she doesn't like you. Something feels off. She can't explain it. You're doing everything right on paper. But emotionally, it doesn't click. There's no spark. No electricity. And you panic. You think maybe I'm not doing enough. So you double down. More texts. More effort. More availability. And with every step forward you take, she takes 2 steps back. It's not because you're not good enough. It's because you're operating from the wrong framework entirely. You're trying to earn something that can't be earned through effort alone. Attraction isn't a math equation. It's a feeling. And feelings don't respond to logic. You send good morning texts. She responds hours later. You ask to hang out. She's suddenly busy. You compliment her. She says thanks and changes the subject. You're doing everything the internet told you to do. Everything society said would work. Be kind. Be attentive. Be present. Be consistent. And it's backfiring spectacularly. Because nobody told you the secret. Nobody explained that attraction requires polarity. Push and pull. Space and closeness. When you're always available, always agreeable, always there, you eliminate the polarity. You become one-dimensional. She knows exactly what she's getting every single time. There's nothing left to discover. Nothing left to wonder about. Meanwhile, the guy who barely texts her back. She's checking her phone every 5 minutes. The guy who has his own life. She's trying to fit into his schedule. The guy who doesn't need her validation. She's seeking his. It feels backwards. It feels unfair. But it's how human psychology works. We chase what moves away from us. We take for granted what's always available. Your biggest mistake wasn't caring too much. It was showing all your cards before she even sat down at the table. Alright, enough about what doesn't work. Let's talk about what does. Because once you understand this, everything shifts. Your relationships shift. Your confidence shifts. The way people respond to you completely transforms. Attraction is built on 3 core pillars. Miss even one, and the whole thing crumbles. First pillar. Purpose. Not just having a job. Not just having hobbies. I'm talking about having something in your life that matters more than getting someone's approval. A mission. A vision. Something you're building that doesn't need anyone else's validation to be worthwhile. When a man has purpose, he doesn't feel incomplete. He's not looking for someone to fill a void because there is no void. And that energy, that self-sufficiency, it's magnetic. People feel it instantly. Think about the last time you met someone who was genuinely passionate about something. They weren't trying to impress you. They were just lit up from the inside. That's what purpose does. It makes you interesting without you having to try. It gives you something to talk about that isn't her. It makes you someone who adds value to conversations instead of extracting validation from them. Second pillar. Emotional control. This doesn't mean being emotionless. It means being unshakable. When drama happens, when emotions run high, when she's upset or testing you, you don't crumble. You don't get defensive. You don't lose your center. You stay calm. You stay grounded. And that communicates more strength than any words ever could. Because anyone can say they're confident. But staying steady when everything around you is chaos. That's real power. Women test men constantly. Not maliciously. Not consciously most of the time. They're checking if you're solid. If you're the rock you present yourself as, or if you're just performing strength. One emotional outburst and the illusion shatters. One needy text and she knows you're not who you pretended to be. Third pillar. Self-respect. This is the big one. This is where most men fail. Self-respect means you're willing to walk away. It means you don't beg for scraps of attention. You don't chase someone who's not choosing you. You don't abandon your standards just to avoid being alone. When you truly respect yourself, you don't need to announce it. People feel it in how you move, how you speak, how you show up. And that quiet confidence. That's what separates the men women remember from the ones they forget. Self-respect also means having boundaries. It means saying no when something doesn't align with your values. It means not tolerating disrespect just because she's attractive. It means understanding that your time is finite and precious. You're not here to audition for someone's affection. You're here to find someone worthy of your investment. That shift in perspective changes everything. You stop being the desperate applicant. You become the selective employer. And people respect what respects itself. Now here's where it all comes together. Most men spend their entire lives asking one question. Does she like me? And that question, that single focus, destroys everything. Because the moment you're seeking approval, you've already lost your power. The shift happens when you stop asking if you're enough and start asking if they're enough for you. Think about that. Instead of "I hope she texts back," you start thinking, "Is this person actually adding value to my life?" Instead of "What can I do to make her like me," you start asking, "Do I even want someone who needs convincing?" This isn't arrogance. This isn't playing games. This is self-awareness. This is understanding that your time, your energy, your presence, these things have value. And you don't hand them out freely just because someone looks good or gives you attention. When you make this shift, something incredible happens. You stop chasing. And the moment you stop chasing, you become worth chasing. Not because you're playing hard to get. But because you genuinely have something going on. You're not desperate. You're not needy. You're just solid. And people notice. Women notice. Because suddenly you're not like everyone else. You're not the guy who melts the second she gives you attention. You're the guy who has standards. Who has boundaries. Who doesn't lose himself trying to impress someone. Let's get tactical. What does this look like in real life? It means you build a life that doesn't revolve around one person. You have goals that exist whether she's there or not. You have routines. You have friends. You have purpose. And she becomes part of your life, not the center of it. It means you stop over-explaining yourself. You don't justify every decision. You don't need her to understand everything. Confidence doesn't explain itself. It just exists. It means you become okay with losing people. Here's the truth. The moment you're terrified of losing someone, you start losing yourself. And that's where the downward spiral begins. It means you take full responsibility for your emotional state. She's not your therapist. She's not your source of happiness. She's not your identity. She's a person you're choosing to share time with. And if it stops working, you're strong enough to let it go. If this message resonated with you, hit that subscribe button right now. Because there's so much more to uncover about attraction, confidence, and becoming the man you're meant to be. Don't miss what's coming next. This isn't about becoming cold. It's not about manipulation. It's about becoming a man you actually respect. Because when you respect yourself, everything else falls into place. Your energy shifts. Your decisions improve. Your standards rise. And naturally, the way people respond to you changes. Not because you forced it. But because you evolved. You don't win by doing more for someone. You win by becoming someone who doesn't need to prove anything. Focus on that. And everything else will follow.